How's it going, guys? What I wanted to do in this video is a book review, a book overview on something that I picked up. I know there's a lot of people out there that will get various books on survival, on just outdoorsmanship, bushcraft, and things like that. And for the most part, yes, I do have a few, but for the most part, there are a lot of them that I just ignore. I have my own reasons for that. A lot of it has to do with, a lot of them are just sales gimmicks. They're trying to basically just sell you a book and don't necessarily always give you a lot of information. But I recently picked one up that's fairly new, and it is from Joel Lambert. He is a Navy SEAL, or was a Navy SEAL, that I think that some of you guys have probably seen him on the Discovery Channel and stuff. And the name of the book is A Navy SEAL's Bug-In Guide. For those of you guys that are watching on YouTube or one of the other video platforms, you can see the front cover of the book here. I'm also going to put a link to it down in the description here, as well as on Spotify. Now, you can go down there and pick you up a copy. This is one book that for some reason did catch my attention. And for those of you guys that are new to my channel, that don't necessarily know a lot of what I do here, mostly firearms related, some survival stuff, I thought that this was a good time to talk about this because this book focuses on bugging in, and we always hear in the survival prepper community, bugging in, bugging out, and that sort of thing. And bugging in is basically the preferred thing of what you want to do. You do not want to leave from where you have all of your supplies and things, if at all possible. Now, I know that there are instances where things do happen to where you are forced to leave, but at the same time, if you can avoid it, you're better off staying where you are, especially if you have the supplies that you need. And that's what this book is about. It is about bugging in and what you need to do to make your home the safest place possible. There's some things in it that basically I want to go over, and I'm basically just going to try to break this out into sections and probably do multiple videos on this because there's a lot of information in this book that there's no way that I can get into the details as far as what I want to do. And plus, I want to have some conversations of my thoughts on this book, and particularly some of the sections that it gets into. And the first thing that you notice is that there's a lot of practical advice in this book that we're going to look into. And the first is going to be where the book starts, and that is food and water. That's literally half of this book. Now, I'm going to, for you guys that are listening on Spotify, I'm holding it up on camera just to show just how much of this book is devoted to food and water. And any situation to where you're in a bug-in situation, those are the two biggest elements of any kind of bug-in situation. If you don't have food, if you don't have water, that's alone is going to force you out of your bug-in location. The way the book starts out, it basically starts out with 38 foods that you should stockpile. And this is where I'm going to kind of deviate some after I explain myself. If you are someone that has grown up in a rural area that has been around farming most of your life, that you understand how things work as far as where your food comes from. It doesn't come from a grocery store, okay? It comes from a farm somewhere. Somebody grew it, and then it made its way to the grocery store. Now, the foods that the book recommends that you store are good in the fact that as far as being nutritionally balanced and things like that. Scanning through it, and it even has a lot of the nutritional things in here. It has recipes and things like that as well. And I think that for the most part, this is good advice. These are very good food types that you should keep. In fact, it has photos for some of you guys out there of some of the different brands and things like that you can get that are not super expensive, that are the more, I guess you could say, consumer price friendly stuff. And it's good food. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in here that we buy. Now, what I want to deviate from on this, and I should say not necessarily deviate as much as my own personal advice, I'm recording this in a time where Kentucky, my home state, has experienced some tremendous amounts of flooding followed by a winter storm. And basically a lot of places, streets are shut down. I mean, it's just everybody is huddled up, staying home, just whether the weather is currently. So we're kind of in one of those bug-in situations. Practically speaking, when it comes to food and any kind of a bug-in situation, the one thing that you do not want to do is buy up a bunch of stuff that you're not going to eat. And that's kind of where I'm going to differ a little bit from the recommendations of this book. Yes, I think that they are well balanced. I think that they are, a great idea, a great source of nutrition that you're going to need, especially in any kind of a long-term bug-in situation. But what you need to consider is what type of foods do you eat? Do you eat these kind of foods that are recommended there? Because if you're not going to eat it, then you're just wasting your money. Just buying it up, stockpiling it just to have it for the what-if situation is not what you need to do. You need to actually stockpile foods that you're going to eat. I would recommend going through this list and trying some of these foods. Try them in small batches, even try some of the recipes that they recommend in here just to see how you like them. If it's something that you like, by all means, put that into your consideration, into your stockpile, or begin building that stockpile. And it also talks about how to begin building that stockpile, because most people can't afford to go out and buy 3 months worth of food at one trip. You've got to grow it slowly, but at the same time, you want to do it effectively. You do not want to go out to the grocery store and buy a bunch of stuff that you're going to end up just throwing away months later. That's just food that's wasted. You need to start with foods that you're going to eat. And here is a little bit of a recommended test for you to find out how you could do in a potential long-term situation. And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for you. I want you to take just 1 month and eat nothing out. Don't go to a restaurant. Don't do anything like that. Don't go over to a friend's. Eat what you have and what you prepare in your own home. Do that every day for a single month. Okay? Most people are not going to get through a week. I'll just be honest with you. They're just not going to do it because we have become so accustomed to eating out and to not having to prepare our own food for the day or buying packaged foods and things like that. But if you take the time and spend just 1 month of eating only the foods that you prepare yourself, that's going to give you an idea of what you could potentially face longer term. The foods that you buy during that time period are going to have a very big impact on what you should buy going longer term. If you're not eating it, don't buy it. That's just all there is to it. Yeah, try some of the foods that this book recommends. I would highly recommend you do it. I mean, I think that there's some good suggestions in here. I'll tell you flat out, there's suggestions in here that I won't do myself. That's just the kind of foods that they're offering or, talking about in here. There's just some of them. It's not for me. It's not what I like to eat. But again, the book, I think, has a lot of practical advice that is very good. I think that this is a book that if you are wanting to get a little more information, get something into the details, that you might want to pick it up. That was one of the things, for whatever reason, I'd seen it out on social media and I'd seen it just browsing through different books and things like that. And for some reason, it caught my attention and I decided to get it, and it was not sent to me. I spent my own money with it and I picked it up. And I'll have to say, it's a good book. It has a lot of useful information in it, beginning with food. And then the next section that it goes into is talking about water, how to store water, how to test water. And again, guys, if you don't have your water supply to where it is healthy, you're doing yourself very badly. There again, 3 days, if you don't have water, you're done. That's all there is to it. You've got to have water, and that's just a given. I mean, you've got to have water. You've got to have clean water for drinking. And in your home, depending on where you live, that's something that plays heavily into it. Where I live at, on my property, I have got a couple of sources of water. Okay, I have, multiple sources of water that I could use in the event of something major that happened. If the utilities are shut down or something like that, I have water on my property. And there's a lot of people that they will think that they can go and simply buy a book like this, scan through it, throw a few things in their closet or whatever, and think that they're good to go. And yeah, it's a good idea to do those things, but what you need to remember is that bugging in the prepper lifestyle, or whatever you want to call it, is not just about buying a bucket of food and throw it in your closet, buying a bunch of guns and throwing them in your basement or whatever. It's about a lifestyle. Okay, it's about taking steps that you do on a daily basis that are routine to you, that are going to help you survive longer term in the event of something major happening. And I think that that's what we need to get down to on this. This book, I think, is a good guide for those that might just be getting into it, and even some of the more seasoned guys out there. There's some interesting stuff in here, I'll just have to say. And it's a constant learning process. Learn continually about what works and what doesn't work. And the best way is to actually take a book like this, or take some of the stuff that you see online, and put yourself into a situation to where you have to test that equipment, to where you have to test that process that you've put in place to see if it's going to work. Just as I had mentioned earlier, take 1 month only eating the foods that you prepare, because in the event of something longer term happening, that's going to tell you where you need to make your adjustments. You don't like this, or you don't like that, and so on. That's what is going to be the deciding factor. And that's what you're going to learn more from than just reading through a book. Okay, you will learn more from actually going through the process of eating what you prepare, learning what you like over an extended period of time and how it serves you. But again, guys, you get hungry enough, you're going to be eating a lot more stuff that you may not like. But, prepare for that. Think about that. But guys, it's a good book. I think that earlier or later on, I'm going to do some more videos on some of the other sections of it. But as I'd mentioned, literally, guys, half of this book, the first half of it, is food and water. And I think that that is a very good start. And I can't really go into all of the details about everything that's in here on each section, just because there's so much. It gets into the various nutritional things of several different foods, and why that you would want that type of food in particular. Has some recipes and just a lot of information in it, guys. I really think that this is a very good book. I do see that it goes into seeds and things like that, and I think I may talk about that in another video. But for now, guys, if you are interested, I will leave a link down below to where you can go over and pick this up. Good book, I'll have to say. It's a real good book. I like what's in there. And those are just a few of my thoughts on it, and I would love to hear yours down in the comments below. What are your thoughts as far as your food storage? I mean, are you just somebody that's going to go out and buy a whole bunch of non-perishable foods and stuff like that and stockpile them somewhere and never eat them? You need to rotate your foods, and that is something else that this book talks about. You need to buy and rotate those foods. Just keep a quantity of what you eat normally in supply, and that's going to be your best bet. But guys, check out the book. Again, check the links below. Pick up a copy and let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you liked the video. Check out all the links down below. Subscribe to my channel. Visit me over on Spotify, guys. Go check me out over there. I'm hoping to get that off the ground as well over there. Thanks for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and we'll see you next time.